Noon runs till 3 on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Here we go.
You really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, motherfucker. What you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor. Wheeler finds Quan from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it! Hits it!
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Man, you know, Jake had this on target. I have been to this place so many times just to hang out. Like we're outside right now off of College Avenue, all the traffic. Here's what I love, too. When we go on a very busy thoroughfare, like College is, both north and south right here, if you're driving on College and you drive by Binkley's, honk the horn. Let us know that you're there. But no, I've been here so many times before, but I've never done a live show here. And then when I saw this on the Bud Light Blue Friday schedule, I got really excited about it. We are at Binkley's. I want to make sure I get this right. Restaurant and kitchen. I just always just say Binkley's, but it is Binkley's restaurant. Yeah, kitchen and bar. I want to make sure I get that right. Courtney's going to join me. She is the owner a couple of different times, early in the show and then later on in the show. We're going to talk about it. But, yeah, it is Binkley's. This has, historically speaking, been one of the great places here in Indianapolis and central Indiana. And finally, we are making our mark doing a live show here. And really for you guys, it's fantastic. It's very centralized right off of College. But we have Raiders-Colts tickets to give away. And not only do we have Raiders-Colts tickets to give away, but you may coax me into getting into the bullseyeeventgroup.com Colts VIP tailgate to boot coming up on Sunday pregame. You just never know. You never know. But the ice cold Bud Light is flowing. Me and my man make sure I got mine in the glass. Harley D is riding shotgun with me right now. He's got his. We have Raiders Colts tickets to give away. we have free gear to give away. If you don't have the Bud Light Blue Friday with JMV T-shirts yet, you've got to get yourself one. I hate to mess this up because Harley D must have worked at the Gap before because you folded it up like you worked at the Gap once upon a time right there. But if you guys haven't seen this yet, this is, and I'm showing this on the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live, this is the Bud Light Blue Friday with JMV T-shirt while they last. What do you think right there, Sian? Does that look good? Thank you very much. We have those to give away. We also have the football toss game, which is outside right off of College. What a great spot to be on this Friday, this Bud Light Blue Friday, with our friends from Zinc, Bud Light, and 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. It's funny. So I was listening to Kevin on with Jake a little bit earlier when I was coming up here. And we were talking about Alec Pierce, or they were talking about Alec Pierce, and he has been ruled out. Apparently, he was going through the week, had practiced for a couple of days, and then had backpedaled a little bit in concussion protocol and has been ruled out. And it is a bummer for Sunday. It's weird how this dynamic is going to go. And I think last night was a bit of a precursor or a telltale sign to what I'm going to get at in just a second. But no week in the NFL is easy, and everybody kind of takes that as, you know what, that's just what everybody says. But no, with a week-to-week basis type of thing, that is absolutely true. And you want to be at your best. That's one thing so far. You know, even with Kenny Moore, the second being ruled out, missing his second consecutive week, I mean, normally we're talking about quarterbacks and massive injuries right now, but these so far, off to a 3-1 start, these have been injuries that you've been able to navigate. Let's face it, this team could be 4-0. Now, this team also could be even by virtue of the Denver game, but they could be 4-0 if you yourselves handle situations better than you did back on Sunday in Southern California, whether it's A.D. Mitchell or Lou Anarumo or now the retired Xavier Howard. And I realize that the secondary has injuries that you have to deal with, but the one thing we're not talking about, and even with the 2 interceptions last week, and what a lot of people thought, well, you know, that's Daniel Jones coming back down to earth. I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel that there was any question about what he was still going to be capable of doing. I think with Daniel Jones, it is about his talent and about how he's being utilized in this system that makes him work. So I didn't take his 2 interceptions in that game in L.A. last week as, well, here we go now. We're going to revisit Daniel Jones for 5 out of the 6 seasons while he was a member of the New York Giants. I'm not concerned about that. What I am concerned about with Alec Pierce is not even so much his missing on Sunday again for the second consecutive week, but it's the backpedaling with concussion protocol. And that is what worries me because he's been down this path before. And I think that we have realized, that's one thing we realized on Sunday, did we not? When A.D. Mitchell was out there, man, he made a great catch and a great play and moved around and then completely blanked everything up at the end. But the one thing I worry about is Daniel Jones is better with that over-the-top threat. And what you're going to say is, well, he doesn't have an over-the-top arm. While that is true, you, with a guy like Alec Pierce, can throw it over the top, still feel comfortable in doing so, and knowing that dude's going to go up and get it. That concerns me. Now, I still think that the guy running the football at the highest clip in the NFL so far this season, Jonathan Taylor, is going to be able to get his. I still think, and we saw Michael Pittman Jr. out there. Hopefully that's okay. Like people were asking me, and believe me, we harped on this earlier this week regarding A.D. Mitchell, and that question was asked to Shane Steichen earlier today. Is A.D. Mitchell going to be participating? And he says that's something, I think the quote was, something they're trying to work through. It really doesn't matter. what matters? The guys that normally do it are there to do it. And that is the thing that I point the finger at is without Alec Pierce, that does take away a piece of what has made Daniel Jones and his whole Renaissance season of 2025 so far. That's what it's made it so productive. Or at least that is a big piece of it. And without that, and then the fact that Alec Pierce has now got multiple concussion situations, that to me is a bit troublesome. So I'm not suggesting the Colts are going to lose this weekend. I'm not suggesting the difference between winning and losing is whether or not Alec Pierce plays. But we saw this last week without Alec Pierce and without somebody where you can throw. Daniel Jones, again, does not have the arm strength to go down the field like other quarterbacks do, but he is able to do it when Alec Pierce is in the game. And that had been so far a weapon for the Colts offensively that they will be without, again, coming up on Sunday. And I don't like that, and I don't like the combination of that with the fact that Alec Pierce has been down this particular concussion path before. So that's something we'll talk about over the course of the afternoon. Joel A. Erickson of the Star is going to join us. He was out with us yesterday at Parks Place Pub. We were in Fisher's on our Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots Thursday. He will rejoin. I will tell you this, Chris Hagan, who normally is here every Friday, cannot be here. He's got some family stuff to deal with today. Shout out to Hagan and his fam, certainly. And Hagan will rejoin us coming up next week. But it's going to be me, I think, Greg. Thank you very much for that. Right back at you. Greg Rakestraw, who lives around the corner here in Broad Ripple, is going to join us, I think, before he embarks upon his LN Warren Central game coming up later on this evening as well. Bob Lovell of Indiana Sports Talk. Eddie Garrison is the host of Sports Talk later on tonight, but Bob Lovell still will join us coming up at the bottom of the hour as we go over yet another week of high school football for you. We are a little over a week away from the pairing show of high school football. I know this to be true. It is a homecoming weekend down at Center Grove. We're getting to that point of the season where you kind of are who you are before the start of the postseason. So Indiana Sports Talk and our good friend Bob Lovell joins us coming up at the bottom of the hour. Joel A. Erickson of the Star coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher, joins us. Yeah, what's up? Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. I do want to talk with Don about this. I know the Hoosiers are off this weekend. They're on the road in Eugene, Oregon, in what is going to be the most tremendous test since a year ago coming up next Saturday. But I did want to give a shout-out, and this is why I love a place like Binkley's where I am today, because where I'm from, down around Bloomington, you have, because of IU, some glorious establishments. And I don't know if you guys saw the video, but they put on the basketball on Kirkwood thing last night. And we're actually going to be in Bloomington coming up in November at Upstairs Pub, and that's where this was happening on Kirkwood between Upstairs and Nick's. And I kind of had wondered how that was going to go. We talked to Jeff Rabjohns about it, and I kind of wondered how that was going to go. But from the video, it looked outstanding. You had Trent Sicily, the freshman coming in, who formerly was from Heritage Hills, with the shot that was from the balcony across the street on Kirkwood. They had basketball going on. I think Wilkerson was shooting threes, and Darren DeVries, the ultimate move. And this is, you're ultimately going to have to win games, and you're going to have to be good. I mean, it's IU basketball. Like, we've known that over the years. Everybody's sick and tired of it being sick and tired here recently. But Darren DeVries, what he did was so savvy. He bought for the bar. He bought a round for the. That's what you do when you want to endear yourself to the crowd, like what we do on a Bud Light Blue Friday, right? You come out, you give away stuff. When you want to endear yourself to the crowd, what you do is you buy a round for the bar. And I saw that yesterday with a video from last night down in Bloomington. That was awesome. Clearly, Don Fisher was not a part of that. But we'll talk about that a little bit and how, again, you see Darren DeVries trying to endear him with the IU faithful before you even shoot a jump shot for real. as a first-year head coach of the basketball Hoosiers. Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, on what is a bye week for IU, is going to join us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Meantime, 239-1070. If you guys want to jump on board, you can inside our text line. That is easy, 317-239-1070 for any of your thoughts. I'd mentioned this a little bit earlier. The Niners and the Rams last night kind of felt to me like a cautionary tale for the Colts coming up on Sunday, because you had a team that was down and out. You had the Niners without their starting quarterback, with Mac Jones. He was in under center. You're on the road in Southern California. I mean, you had the Rams riding high after a win, and you had an 8.5-point spread, and my dumb ass ended up taking the Rams last night, and the Rams not only did not cover that spread, but they lost the game in overtime to the Niners, and they lost the game through just a number of mistakes that team didn't make a week ago. Like, a lot of the stuff that they did, much like we think about the Colts and how they lost in L.A. last week, a lot of the reasons why the Rams lost last night was because they did it to themselves. And that's what you watch out for. You have a team coming from Vegas, if you're the Colts, on Sunday. And a team that really, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. A team that really doesn't have much of an idea of its identity right now. They got off to a great start. Geno Smith in Foxborough in week number 1 was outstanding. And then since that point in time, they've been scuffling. And they have been scuffling with Geno Smith under center. They had been scuffling at least until last week on how appropriately enough to utilize their top 6 running back selection of the first round of the NFL draft in Genty. Now, last week they utilized him heavily, but they had been I mentioned this a little bit earlier this week to Kirk Morrison, their radio analyst and their former player who was on the show. I'd said he'd kind of had training wheels on up until last week, and then Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll turned him loose a little bit more. So the offense has been incredibly disjointed, and then the special teams. And if there's one thing that the Colts know to be true with the Raiders over the years and their many matchups is it has come down to special teams. And the special teams was the reason why they ended up losing that game, if you watch it against the Bears on Sunday. And it seems a little bit disjointed right now. So what I'm saying is, if you're the home team and you're coming off a loss, you're coming off a disappointing first loss of the season in a game that you can make a serious argument that you should have won. But this is not one where you go back-to-back in home dates that you should feel comfortable about and confident about winning. You get the Raiders this week, you get the Cardinals next week. You should feel really confident about that. You got to make sure you take care of this. And what I mean by taking care of this is you got to take care of the stuff that you didn't last week. This can't be self-induced, these types of losses. And you saw the Rams do that last night against the Giants team that looked really good through the air with Mac Jones. And basically everybody else has written them off. That spread was 8.5 points. The Colts are 7-point favorites. Mike Chappell and I had this conversation yesterday. Hell, I can't remember a time, and it probably has happened, but when was the last time the Colts were 7-point favorites? Seems like a long time ago. So take care of what you can take care of. That is on Sunday against a Raiders team that they may look ripe right now, like the Niners did last night on Thursday Night Football. They may look ripe, but looks can be deceiving if you do it to yourself. We saw that last week. We don't need a mirror image coming up on Sunday. Speaking of Sunday, BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. That is where we start. Coming up at 9 a.m., that's an hour before the doors open. I've got more passes to give away here over the course of the afternoon as well for the Bullseye Event Center. It's going to be a fun time, and it always is the best start to your game day experience with Bullseye. And then the Colts pregame huddle, we get you started coming up on Sunday at 10 a.m. American Family Insurance Touchdown Town with me and Joe Wrights and Bill Brooks and Casey Valier, and back-to-back-to-back segments with our good friend Rick Venturi. By the way, too, I think Rick next week will join us at some point. And I haven't figured it out yet because I've got some oddness for next week. I'll explain that to you in just a second. But I don't know exactly what date, but I know he wants to come on and look back to basically the first month of the season. We'll do that. But on Sunday, we go back-to-back-to-back with Rick Venturi. And we have similar thoughts about that Rams game. And in turn, what to think about against the Raiders coming up on Sunday with the Colts. All right, the rest of the weekend, the college football weekend, Illinois and Purdue, Boise State and Notre Dame. A lot of local stuff going on, too. We'll get to that. And another week, Friday night high school football, too. Bob Lovell going to join us coming up at the top of the hour. Our good friend Eddie Garrison is doing Indiana Sports Talk both tomorrow and tonight. So you can check that out. Indiana Sports Talk with Eddie Garrison. Bob Lovell is out this weekend, but Bob's going to join us coming up, as usual, on the other side. Joel A. Erickson of the Star. Alec Pierce and his concussion protocol regression. We'll talk about that with Joel coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Kenny Moore is gone again. And what exactly do you think Shane Steichen means about we're working through this? Just like the second day in a row he said working through this regarding A.D. Mitchell. And because you don't have Alec Pierce, does that magnify it, or is that more of a role for the veteran Ashton Doolin? The other thing I want to talk about with Joel A. Erickson, the big point to make regarding the Raiders this weekend is make sure you don't let Max Crosby wreck it. Make sure that, hey, listen, Jared Verse did a hell of a job at trying to do that last week. Max Crosby, if there's one thing that they can do defensively that is consistent, he can wreck it. And the one thing we haven't talked about at great length is how this offensive line, we talked about A.D. Mitchell, we talked about Lou Anarumo, we talked about 10 men on the field last week that led to that loss, but the offensive line had their own struggles with penalties. We'll talk about that with Joel Erickson coming up at the top of the hour. We've got also Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, joining us. Can you guys be with us? I think you should. We're at Binkley's. We're on College here. 239-1070 is that number on a Bud Light Blue Friday. We have Raiders Colts tickets you can sign up for as well. We have gear to give away. We have the football toss too. And we have the place here in Indy that has been known to want to come and hang out. And for the first time, we're doing a show here at Binkley's on this Bud Light Blue Friday. Hey, James, I did want to tell you this. So one of the reasons why next week is a little bit weird is I have taken off Tuesday and Wednesday. My mom's birthday is on Monday. So what does G want to do on her 80th birthday? She wants me to drive her ass down to Jasper. So I've got to go down to GC and take her to Jasper coming up on Tuesday. But I took Tuesday and Wednesday off of next week, and Greg Rakestraw is going to be the host next week. But, James, this is pretty funny. So I got into my ADP for the first time, right, whatever that is, to kind of figure it out. Todd, our executive producer, Todd Myers, said, hey, can you go in there and can you take those 2 days off? And I have – you know how many days I have of vacation time?
How much do you have saved?
24 days.
Oh, my God. You could take a whole month off.
I could take a month off. I have 24 days of vacation.
That is wild.
And it is what, 20? I could not win because I was sitting in there with Nathaniel Finch, a friend of the show and friend of ours, and I think it was like 100 and something. How many hours does that translate to? 24 days. I have 24 days of vacation.
And you got to start using some of that.
There is zero. I don't even think I can get that cobbled down to 20 days by the end of the year here. We just got too much going on. But 24 days of vacation. Shout out to it right there. Quick break. We'll come back. It is Bob Lovell, Indiana Sports Talk. He's going to be out tonight, tomorrow night. The focus with our friend Eddie Garrison. But Bob will talk about tonight in high school football around the area, wherever you're going. We'd love to hear from you. And, of course, the Saturday of college football. We're off college. You've heard in the background a lot of honking going on. if you're going down College where we are right now, when you get by Binkley's, I would love for you to stop and join us, right, on a Bud Light Blue Friday, your chance at Raiders Colts tickets and gear. But if you can't stop, make sure you honk. Make sure we know that you're listening here. Off of College, we're outside. We are at Binkley's. Courtney, the owner of Binkley, is going to join us a little bit later on as well. Stream the app, HD Radio, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Hey, what's up? That guy's delivering from Kroger right there. That's awesome. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live, man. We're going to have a glorious Friday. Bud Light Blue Friday at Binkley's and Broad Ripple at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Danny, every day.
Good. So what's the problem?
I don't know.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, for those that don't know, College and Kessler, if you're cruising by Binkley's at College and Kessler, man, honk your horn and let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're listening. It's kind of my version of honk if you're horny. You guys ever do that? Was that a saying? All right, Bob. I'm going to let that breathe for a minute before I get to our next guest. But no, we got a Raiders fan here right now. We got Raiders Colts tickets to give away Bud Light Blue Friday. We got a Raiders fan. Now, what's your name?
Thomas.
Thomas, how long have you been a Raiders fan? All your life?
My whole life.
Did you play Bo Jackson and Super Tecmo Bowl back in the day, too? Oh, I don't. Well, no, you don't. There
yes,
you
sir.
go. That is the greatest video game athlete of all time is Super Tecmo Bo Jackson.
Yes, sir. I
who
knew
could
you'd like
not
that.
could not be stopped ever.
Unstoppable. You only need 2 plays.
All right. So, what's your favorite Raiders team of all time?
76 Raiders.
No,
Has to be.
there you go.
That's my
then
favorite.
you go all the way back.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite 70s, favorite 80s, favorite 90s, and favorite present day Raider?
Favorite Raider in the 70s, I would say. I love Kenny Stabler.
Did you?
I love Kenny Stabler.
I like Cliff Branch.
Oh, Cliff Branch.
Yeah, I like
Speed
Cliff
kills.
Branch, the wide. Thank you very much.
Speed kills.
All right, for the 80s, I'm assuming
Bo Jackson.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
For the 90s.
90s, I'm going pretty late. Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson, well done.
Charles Woodson. I actually met Charles Woodson in about 05 when they were playing here.
Did you really?
Yep. He was a really cool guy.
And then for today, present day.
Max Crosby.
Yeah.
Madness on the field.
That's a game record right there.
We don't have much to watch on the field, so I just try to focus on him. I feel a little bit better.
That is it. I mean, that's the guy that can really screw you up. You're going to win. Hopefully, you win some tickets here today.
I'm working on it. I played the football game. I think I did pretty well. I'm trying my best.
Hang around. We'll get you a nice cold Bud Light in just a second, too, brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Would you go to high school around here, too?
No, I actually went in Avon on the west side.
Well done. Well, nice to meet you, man. Thanks for coming out.
Thank
There you
you
go. We got a Raider fan with a Bo Jackson jersey on trying to win himself some tickets. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. He's going to be absent from his post tonight and tomorrow night. That's understandable. He's got some personal stuff going on, some family events to attend. From Indiana Sports Talk, it is Bob Lovell. What in the world are we going to do without that iconic voice tonight and tomorrow night on Indiana Sports Talk, Bob?
You know, you're going to be you've traded up. You have Eddie Garrison, so I don't think you have to worry, John. Not at all.
No, you got everything absolutely covered. Hey, we're closing in. Did I hear this accurately? Coming up just a little over a week away from the pairing show. Is that true?
The 12th. You're exactly right, John. It's it's unbelievably arrived. It's here. And get through this week and then next weekend, obviously week 7 or 8 or whatever week it is. And we have the pairing show on the 12th. So it'll be fun. We always say it because it happens. It moves quickly, and it's one of the more fun nights of the year when you put the pairings together and everybody around the state trying to figure out who they're going to play. So I'm honored to again be asked to be a part of the production.
You have really across the board tonight a lot of top 10 matchups, do you not, in the state of Indiana? I know that Greg Rakestraw is going to be in charge of one of those with Warren and LN coming up later on this evening in 6A. We'll probably start with that one.
Well, obviously that's a great matchup. Warren Central number 7, LN number 5. One loss for Lawrence North. It's a Warren Central team that's only lost once. 2 really, really good teams, obviously, and conference matchup. You're at this point of the year where you really need to be playing well. You've got a little time to correct some things that aren't there. So it's a great place to start. Should be a great game.
Yeah, Center Grove and Cathedral later on. It's a homecoming weekend at CG. Right. And, you know, Eric Moore, and I know this to be true. They are, and I know everybody does, right? And that's exactly how he would state it. They're dealing with a multitude of injuries right now and still, hey, what's up? Still looking about as good as anybody could.
It's because the system works. I mean, look at the championships, look at the wins. The system works. You have good, talented players. You have great coaches. So somebody's down, you plug somebody in because you believe in the system, you believe in the process, and they're a perfect example of how that works.
It's a Bob Lovell of Indiana Sports Talk. Eddie Garrison is in for him coming up later on tonight and tomorrow night. across all those great stations in the state of Indiana, New Pal has been a juggernaut for a while, so I'm not breaking any new ground with an original thought of any kind right here. But, man, God, are we up to the time when we start comparing eras or teams with Kyle Ralph and this one compared to others? I mean, is that something we should start to do as far as his career is concerned? Because it feels like it's appropriate.
It's absolutely appropriate. I mean, they are a juggernaut. They won last year. Undefeated this year, ranked number 1. They've won multiple championships, have moved up in class, and still continued to have success. You talk about one of the most underrated programs in some respects. Those of us in Central Indiana recognize how good they are. But they're a phenomenal story, and they're playing tremendous football. Shelbyville's kind of struggled out of the gate, getting a little bit better right now, but New Pal is a tall order for anyone.
How about this? Let's give some shout out. I forget which Hart is down in Hobstadt in 3A. But Gibson Southern.
That's Derek. Yeah, that's Derek.
But Gibson Southern with that massive win over Heritage Hills. I think Heritage Hills had an 18-game win streak or something like that.
They did.
That is, and that's not just Southern Indiana. That is massive just across the state in general right there of an accomplishment.
Well, it is. It doesn't matter, obviously, what class you're playing. And it's it's a Gibson Southern team that plays. They don't shy away from playing anybody. They're really talented, and there are a lot of wins in the Hart family, obviously. And, this is Nick. Nick is the coach at Gibson Southern. They had a run to the tournament a couple of years ago, and they love to throw it. They're really good at it. They're very, very talented. And so, it's a matchup tonight where, you talk about the big win last week against Heritage Hills. Washington is a team that's having some of their difficulties, but they are a team that you should not be surprised if you see them playing at Lucas Oil Stadium because they're that good.
Well, I just kind of think about now the Southern Indiana football programs or the so-called institutions, and Heritage Hills has been that for a while.
Right.
I think you would describe in Hobstadt Gibson Southern as one of those great football programs, right? Historically speaking, now in the state of Indiana, especially in the South.
No question. I mean, obviously you talk a lot about Evansville Memorial, Evansville Rights, those kinds of schools. Castle's always played well, but you clearly have to have Gibson Southern in that mix because of the success they've had. And there's some tremendous football without question. Tremendous football in all those programs.
It is Bob Lovell of Indiana Sports Talk. We've got Purdue and Illinois. It'll be interesting to see the gauge and the matchup with the Boilermakers and the Illini this weekend. Will it not? I mean,
I think it will.
I love the fact that Barry Odom, the fan base, you're just kind of seeing how this thing progresses, and you want to see them run the football much better than they certainly have so far. But it kind of seems like that the Boilermakers are happy in what is this football evolution going on in West Lafayette right now.
Well, I think we all see, John, that they're clearly better than they were in the past 2 or 3 years. They have, you can watch them, you can tell there's some clear direction and where they're going. There's a plan. Their scheme-wise, they're solid. Their caliber of players truly has to improve, but it will. I think they're making great progress. The problem is the league you're playing in is so good that you may be making great progress, and it might not be reflected in wins on the board. So, but I think this is a good test for them. I think that, you got an Illinois team that's still smarting from that loss to IU, and so you got a good team you're playing against without question.
Yeah, shout out to the honker that just went by here at College and Kessler at Binkley's our location, Bob. We're getting a lot of honks right here, as you can tell.
Well,
I want to know who's listening when they drive by. Yeah. Man, that red line's going pretty damn fast right there. What the hell? Wow.
They all want to be you, John. That's the whole deal. They love listening and they want to be you.
Well, I'm trying to get them to stop so they can even. I want to start their weekend with a blast right here, Bob. That's kind of the whole
that's
thing.
a great idea. I'm sure that
Yeah.
IPD wouldn't like for you to create some hazard traffic-wise by encouraging people to stop and all that. So
I am definitely a hazard creator right here. There's no doubt about that, brother. Let me tell you that. Now, what do you got going on? You got a personal life event that's happening this weekend, huh?
We have a wedding in the family. Grandchildren getting married. So
yes,
we're
awesome.
with the family. With the family this weekend. Excited about it. These things are fun. You know, at the age my wife and I are, these are all fun things, fun events, and being the senior.
Hey, Bob, hold on a second. Hey, honk if you're proud of Bob Lovell's wedding weekend right here. Give us a honk right here. That's what we need. Big wedding weekend for Bob Lovell right here. That's awesome.
There you go. Have him drive by the house.
There you go. Look at that. Bob Lovell's getting honks right now for the wedding weekend. Well, hey, you got an open bar going on there for the reception?
No question.
Buddy, God dang. Yeah. You do stuff up right down there. I know. Where is it? In Franklin?
No, it's downtown. I'll be a block away from you guys. So
Are you doing at the Columbia? Are you celebrating at the Columbia House?
That's tomorrow. Tonight we're not at the Columbia Club. We'll be there tomorrow. So we're
at the Columbia
visit
House.
some of the classic venues downtown. Yeah.
Well, hell, listen. What time do you guys open the doors up the reception tomorrow? Because I got to do the JMV takeover. I can go up and get all right before I go on at 6 o'clock.
You could get lubricated over there before you go on the air, which you never do, but you could.
Unfortunately, it takes me at 55. It takes me at 55 doing all these shows. It takes me a lot of lubrication. I need a lot of lubricant anymore.
I understand
that.
What
I mean?
You know, I've told you to stop working so hard. So do that.
No, what? Hey, congratulations, buddy.
Thanks.
We're really happy for you.
Okay.
And we will miss you this weekend, but Eddie Garrison will hold down the fort for you.
Yeah, Eddie Garrison. I'll be back next week, and we'll do the pairing show next weekend too. So it's all good.
Gotcha. Bob Lovell of Indiana Sports Talk. All right, let me text me and let me know when I can come over and get set up there at the Columbia Club, okay?
Will do.
Thanks a lot. It's Bob Lovell of Indiana Sports Talk. Hey, Mackenzie, tell Courtney to come out. I want to get her on here. The owner is Courtney. I want to get Courtney on the show coming up in a minute. My man Harley D's hanging out with me. A lot of good honks for you. This is like the equivalent of the Redneck Day. You guys ever do that back in the day, the honk if you're horny kind of thing? That's kind of what we got going on here. College and Kessler at Binkley's, but there is a legitimate reason for you to stop. For one, we're talking about an institution here at Binkley's, which is awesome. But the other is we have Raiders Colts tickets to give away on a Bud Light Blue Friday with our friends from Zinc, and gear to give away, too, while we're here. So make sure you're a part of it. Courtney's going to join on the other side. Joel A. Erickson at the top of the hour, voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher. If you are driving by College and Kessler, honk that horn to make sure everybody knows you're listening. And, man, if you honk the horn, feel free to stop. Have a nice cold Bud Light with us, too. The stream, the app, HD Radio, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. That is one badass Public Enemy shirt right there, by the way, too. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Ride with JMV.
Smokey, this is not Nam. This is bowling. There are rules.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
The spreadability is back for 2025. Honk if you love the spreadability of Win Schuler's original sharp cheddar bacon and cheddar and jalapeno pepper. You can find that at Meijer, all the Meijer locations here. Central Indiana, also at Gordon Foods. And if you see it, too, send me a picture so I can make sure everybody can be a part of the spreadability. The spreadability for 2025, the fall and the football season with Win Schuler's spreadable cheeses. Glenn Bill is here, and he just reminded me.
Hello, Glenn.
That's Courtney's voice, the lovely Courtney, who is the owner of Binkley's. Glenn Bill reminded me of when I used to do TV for the finals, and Chittard was always historically a part of the finals. And some of my conversations going off the field with former coach Vince Lorenzano, which was always good. Vince Lorenzano, I'd never been looked at before when I ask a question of somebody like I was a bigger dumbass than when Vince Lorenzano looked at me before he answered. I go, wait a minute. I asked the complete wrong question right here, but what a great guy. And Glenn, as you mentioned, there was nobody more old school than that guy. And that's Vince Lorenzano, if you remember Chittard folks out there. Just what a tremendous dude. Hey, we're at Binkley's. We're on College and Kessler, and Courtney is the owner. Courtney, how are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
How long have you owned Binkley's?
We're going on 6 years.
6 years?
3 months before COVID.
How long has Binkley's been here, though? All the way back?
Long time.
Like, do you have a history?
Originally, it was a pharmacy, and then it was the pawn shop.
Okay.
And then it became Binkley's.
I just know this for the greatness that it is. I mean, both outdoor and indoor. You guys got it covered right here. Now, is this called Sobro right here?
Nope. This is actually Broad Ripple into this intersection.
So what the hell is Sobro? People say Sobro all the time.
Everything south of this corner, basically. Is
Sobro.
South Broad Ripple.
Well, this is an awesome place. So what got you interested in wanting to own Binkley's?
I had...
To make sure you had shows like this show up on a Friday.
This is exactly why I did
it. And have people honk out there on college for everybody and talk sports and be foolish. Yeah, let's...
Yeah,
you
no,
got the right guy. Yeah.
No, I've been on this corner. I worked across the street for years.
Okay.
And I ended up coming over here right across the street and buying this.
All right. So what do you guys do? You got great food, obviously. TVs everywhere.
TVs everywhere.
What you got going on this weekend? Anything in particular you want to prop up?
We have the Steelers. The Steelers come in and they really pump us up here.
Well, there's a background there. And for those out there that remember Nickel Plate.
Yes.
And it's interesting because I was just at Parks Place yesterday, which is Nickel Plate District in Fishers.
Yes.
I was just there yesterday. This is a Steelers place too, right?
It is. When I bought it, I did not know that. But I came in and they came prepared and they came heavy.
Do they all love Aaron Rodgers or not? Hey, what's up?
I think, yeah. I'll say yes.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Some may disagree, but the ones that come in do. So.
You got it. You got it. Hey, well, I want to get you back on a little bit later on, so we'll do that too. But I know you got the Steelers this weekend. Anything else that you guys?
Nope, we got IU on a bye. We got Chittard. My nephew plays for Chittard, so he'll be playing tonight.
Glenn Bill and I were just talking about the legend that is Vince Lorenzano. Seriously, I've never had anybody answer a question I've asked before, like, you are the biggest dumbass I'm ever talked to in my life than Vince Lorenzano. And I had that brown suit. Remember that brown? It was the only suit I had at the time. Some brown suit I got at JCPenney. This is awful. So, but those are great days. Yes, great days. Greg Rakestraw, by the way, has just showed up. He's going to join us in a second as well. So, all right, the most popular food item on the menu, Courtney, what is it?
I would go with our pizza or our wings. I believe that I can pretty much go up against anybody with both.
Anybody. Courtney's going to go up against anybody right there.
I will.
Hey, this is a great spot. Thanks for having us today,
thanks
too.
for being
Mackenzie is hanging with us as well.
Sure is.
This is a Bud Light Blue Friday. We have Raiders Colts tickets to give away. We have a football toss and a sign up, and we have gear. And Courtney, you going to join us again before the end of the show?
I will.
We'll do that. Courtney is here. And make sure when you come by, honk if you love Courtney, the owner.
Honk if you love Courtney.
Of Binkley's right now. It's Binkley's
Kitchen and Bar.
Kitchen and Bar. Kitchen and Bar is what it is, Binkley's. Thank you very much, Courtney.
Thank you.
Rejoin us a little bit later on. Greg's going to have a sit down with us. Joel A. Erickson of the Star is going to be here as well. Do not go anywhere. Hour 2 is straight ahead on a Bud Light Blue Friday at Binkley's Kitchen and Bar. We've got the phones that are open at 239-1070, 317-239-1070. What's up? You can also text stream that to us as well if you have any comments. Mention Rakestraw, Joel A. Erickson, Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers. We're at College and Kessler on a Bud Light Blue Friday at Binkley's on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
In front of the school with her. I'd like to have a few words with you, by God.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. Hey, Hawk, this is, like I said a little bit earlier, it's like my version of Honk If You're Horny here at College in Kessler. Oh, we're at Binkley's Kitchen and Bar, Bud Light Blue Friday. We would love to have you here. Man, you guys all got your windows down, man. Honk that horn. What are you doing? Listen to the show. Honk that horn to make sure everybody knows that you're listening to the show. Voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher, after 5. Raiders Colts tickets to give away right here with the football. Thank you very much with the football toss and with the sign up as well. Now, we'll get to Joel in just a second. Greg Rakestraw lives about 4 blocks from here, who joins us now.
You are in my neck of the woods. Welcome to Broad Ripple.
Man, this is great.
This is an awesome place. This was named after the old hardware store / pharmacy that was here decades ago. This was originally the pawn shop pub location. Yeah. But for the last 20-ish years, it has been Binkley's. And again, just straight Binkley's is good enough to all the locals call it.
Here's what's funny about it. I've done these live shows for the better part of 20 years plus. I've never done a live show here.
Which is crazy to think about.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
So shout out to Zinc and Bud Light for having us. Now, you're at 1 Central LN later on tonight.
That is correct. So I will be heading out Kessler past Glenn Bill's place on the way to 77th and Hague when I'm done with this segment of the show.
So Glenn Bill's place apparently is some picturesque.
So it is a farmhouse that dates back to the 1880s. Wow. So since I've now lived here for 20-plus years in this neighborhood, this was the outer loop of town at about 1930. So most of the houses that are around here, obviously some have been refurbished and redone. But for example, the house that I had when I first moved up here in 2003 was built in 1920. The house that I live in now, which is 4 or 5 blocks, as I'm making a sight gag on radio, pointing in the opposite direction, was built in 1939. His house that has the old, what I would call the carriage posts on the edge where the horses would have been covered when you pulled them up to the side of the house. That house is 140 years old, was built in the 1880s.
Wow.
So that was the original farmhouse there, because you'll hear occasionally people as you go east of Kessler and you get to Keystone or Allisonville Road that at one point in time, Allisonville Road was a gravel road north of Kessler, back in the 50s.
Right.
So yeah, so this is you're in the old school part of town here.
So Greg Rakestraw is going to hang with us as well on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You heard him yesterday. He led off the show. What's up? Because I was trying to be the bad influence from the star, Joel A. Erickson. And what we like to do is have him on with Chris Hagan on Fox 59. What's up, buddy? Because we are promoting First and Joel. But I know Chris has got some family things going on right now, Joel, so there's no Chris. It's just us. But I do want to thank you for being a part of our Parks Place Pub broadcast yesterday. So is this something where you can see yourself coming out often now because of that?
I've told you before, if you are in my neck of the woods, which is up in Fishers, and I don't have a practice or a game or something else kid-related to get to, yeah, I can make an appearance.
What time is the Brewers' first pitch on Sunday? How big of a conflict are you going to have doing the day job and covering Colts and Raiders on Sunday afternoon?
They do not play. They do not play on Sunday. There is a break. They play Saturday, and then they play Monday. So I have a break. Now, I will say this. Tomorrow for Game 1, my son is supposed to be playing baseball at 3, and first pitch is at 2:08. So I will be watching double baseball on my phone.
Wow. Double baseball on the phone and watching the sun. Now, what'd you think about the live show yesterday? Is that something you can do? Can you have cocktails or beers, for example, like today, and then give us the Colts information that everybody desires on this show?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah. But see, maybe I'm not going to be the bad influence that I thought. I just think you fit in quite well. I think you do every Friday right here. Makes a lot of sense. But no, seriously, it was awesome to have you out there with us yesterday, and we certainly appreciate that. Let's go here. The Alec Pierce thing concerns me because it was a backpedal. It looked like that he was, moving toward being able to participate. He has now been ruled out, and there is a history there. Is there a level of concern from your angle regarding the Colts wide receiver?
I think there is, but it mostly has to do with the fact that it's his third concussion in 4 years. I think that's what's driving it for me. We have had it in the past where a guy's had a setback. Michael Pittman Jr., when DeMonte Casey took that unfounded shot a couple of years ago, had the same thing where he got back and he got to the last step in the concussion protocol and had to go back. So that is actually not as surprising in today's day and age as maybe it would seem. But 3 concussions in 4 years is a concern no matter what.
So how now does that change? Because we kind of went into the week saying, all right, what is A.D. Mitchell's role what's it going to be? If there's no Alec Pierce, you frankly have to have A.D. Mitchell. How does his Sunday change now that Alec Pierce is not playing?
Well, I think your option is to kind of go with Ashton Doolin there if you don't want to emphasize Mitchell as much. Mitchell has been that backup at the X receiver. Shane Steichen said working through that, you could bring maybe somebody up from the practice squad, but there are 4 guys on the injury report today who are out, so that might be there might be some issues there too. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with A.D. Mitchell, because again, Shane Steichen has held off on saying he's back in the same role all week, even including today after saying Pierce is out.
Well, he's kind of said the same thing when been asked this week. It's weird. I mean, I would expect Ashton Doolin, as we've talked about, to have more of a significant role than anything on Sunday. But I will say this, the whole Pierce angle here does kind of throw a wrench into things, does it not?
Yeah, absolutely. Pierce was playing really good football through the first 3 games, not just as a deep ball receiver, but as somebody they were using to move the chains. He's got good chemistry with Jones. It does alter it a little bit, especially if it doesn't sound like the Colts are concerned about Michael Pittman's hamstring, but, it's still a hamstring. So they could be a little thin at wide receiver.
So Joel A. Erickson of the Stars on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Binkley's on a Bud Light Blue Friday. We are at College in Kessler. Honk, if you're going by, we would love to hear from you, but we would love also for you to stop. I mentioned this about Alec Pierce a little bit earlier. He I think, provides an aspect for Daniel Jones that we have witnessed so far is one of the reasons why Daniel Jones has been so good. Because we question the deep ball capabilities of Jones, but with Pierce, you can throw up there and he will go get it. And we have seen that so far. And that, again, I think A.D. Mitchell could be that if they trusted him to be able to do it.
Yeah, I thought about that. I thought about that on the first interception the other day. That's the kind of play that Alec Pierce, if he doesn't catch the ball, has found a way to get his hands in there and make sure it's not an interception. I did find myself wondering, afterwards, and I think some fans, kind of sent it out on social media, like, if that's Pierce in there, is that interception or is it just an incomplete pass? I think that's possible. We haven't really seen Mitchell, to this point, make sort of the jump ball contested catch type of play that Pierce makes pretty regularly. And I do think that changes the deep ball a little bit, where he's got to have it where it's one-on-one. He's got to have it where the receivers can run under it more so than the jump ball. Now, I will say this. If you get Michael Pittman in that situation, it's been a while since he did it, but he did have a lot of jump ball catches like that in 2021 in the first half of the season. I think he's got the size and the want to go get it. It's just, can you get him beat down the field?
Independently of A.D. Mitchell's status, I am someone that would like to see Ashton Doolin get rewarded for what he does. Like, I love that jet sweep. Like, I'd like to see like that almost like once a half for him. I'm all for getting Doolin more playing time, even not as some sort of penalty to A.D. Mitchell. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I like Doolin. I like Doolin kind of giving a change up in the running game, just because so much of what they do is pretty much just the Jonathan Taylor game. They don't really use a change of pace back. They haven't really used Daniel Jones. Receiving wise, I think you mix him in there just because you don't want them to think every time Doolin's out there that they're blocking. But
right.
Ashton Doolin if you put him in the game on the 53-yard Jonathan Taylor touchdown run, we might be talking about a 4-0 Colts team because that touchdown stands if he's in the game. But you probably don't want them to assume, okay, we're automatically running if Doolin's in the game. I think you got to get them a few more throws so that they don't have those tendencies to go, oh, they've got Doolin in, they're definitely going to run this.
So Joe A. Erickson of the Stars on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I don't know if this is true, but it seems like the teams have had success, Joel, running the football against the Colts, but they always go away from it. I think we saw it last week. I think we've seen it with Denver as well, having success, and then ultimately they don't stick with it or they go away from it for whatever reason or the other. And then we saw last week against the Bears, Genty be turned loose a little bit more. And as I mentioned to Kirk Morrison, their radio analyst this week, kind of taking the training wheels off, should that be a major concern at all with the rookie running the football against this Colts defense?
I think so. I mean, the numbers that kind of back up what you're saying is that the Colts are 8th in rushing yardage, which sounds great, right? But they're 20th in yards per carry. So they are giving up more on a per carry basis than is probably optimal. And part of the reason they haven't given up as many rushing yards is they've been up in a lot of these games, or in the case of the Rams game, they had a pretty much guaranteed completion on one side of the field, so they weren't going to go away from that. I do think it's an issue. The one thing I will say, though, with Genty is before that Bears game, the Raiders had really struggled with getting him holes in the running game. He'd been hit some absurd percentage behind the line in his first 3 games, and this is the biggest, to me, this is the biggest injury thing for the Raiders. They do not have veteran left tackle Colton Miller. It's going to be Stone Forsythe instead of him. And that's an offensive line that I don't think is really playing that well, even with Miller in the lineup, let alone without him.
How much, obviously, we're kind of checking the game as it is, but how much are you kind of following the game within the game, i.e. last year's star rookie tight end versus this year's star rookie tight end, Bowers versus Warren? How much are you paying attention to that during the course of Sunday's game?
Well, I think it's funny that Shane Steichen said today, they kind of wanted Brock Bowers to fall to them last year, and obviously the Raiders ended up taking him. I haven't seen yet if the Raiders have put their availability out. He's been kind of dealing with something this week and maybe has missed some practice, but I don't think they've released their statuses yet for us to know if he's going to play or not. It does seem like Bowers is banged up a little bit.
So Joe A. Erickson of the Star, he's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You brought up the point about missing a left tackle. Joe, this is looking a little bit far ahead. So you go back-to-back with the Raiders and the Cardinals, and then you go back to Southern California against the Chargers, where they're also missing their left tackle for the season. I mean, in terms of that, this is a hell of a time for the Colts. I mean, 2 out of the next 3 games, you're going to get him back up left tackles in a situation to where you'd really like to see the Colts take advantage, and a lot of that falls on the shoulders up front of a guy like Leatu Latu.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the Chargers, it's both tackles, I think, because Joe Alt went out last week.
Correct.
And they already lost Rashawn Slater, so I think they maybe moved Alt over. But however you want to look at it, they've lost their 2 starting tackles. So you're looking at a couple of lines in a row here where you should be able to make some hay. And I think if you go back and watch that Rams game, I know they sacked Stafford only 3 times, but really I felt like that game was more about the lack of coverage than it was a lack of pass rush. And Latu really did a good job in that game. I think now you want to see him stack that a couple of times in a row, where he's playing like that over and over again, taking advantage of these tackles and really setting up himself as somebody that offenses have to pay attention to, and maybe get some double teams or any kind of attention away from DeForest Buckner.
Joel, what was your score on the grid today?
I have not done it today.
All right, you realize when I say the grid what we're talking about, John.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Do you play that on a regular basis? Is that for a different level of nerd than you, playing the grid?
I have gotten away from it a little bit. If I do play it, I will only play it if it's possible to do a brewer in all 9 boxes. So even if the brewers are not one of the prompts, I will play it that way. I have not looked today, but I might later. We'll see. It's kind of a busy day. Kind of a busy Friday for me.
John, if you wanted to start naming some random brewers, that might help Joel for future editions of that game.
Hey, Joel, seriously, though, as a Brewer fan, there's zero way that you can have this regular season in which they had and lose in the postseason to the Cubs, right? No way.
I mean, no, there's absolutely a way. Like, there's absolutely a way that the Cubs are a bad matchup for Milwaukee, actually, because of the way they play defense. And I am also I think I've said this before on this show, but I am not the sort of fan who goes into these things confident. I go into playoff games. I felt it as the Cubs series was closing up yesterday. I could feel the familiar nerves and anxiety creeping up. I don't feel good about that series at all, because that's kind of the thing with the Brewers is since 2018, when they made it to Game 7 of the NLCS, that's pretty much been the story, is great regular season, nothing in the playoffs.
I just kind of think about it, like the whole Craig Counsell stuff is awesome, I think, in terms of interest level for me. Same for you?
I am not the biggest Craig Counsell fan. I'll say that. He's not my favorite manager in the world. It's gonna be interesting. I can't think about these playoff games without they're just the most blood pressure rising, heart pounding, gut punches in the world. Like, playoff baseball is just different because of how things can turn on every pitch. And so right now, I would say my mental status on this playoff series is not in a good spot at the moment.
Hey, are you a Bucks fan too? Being from Milwaukee,
I am not.
Being from Wisconsin? Okay.
I am not. That's the only one I'm not. When I was 5 years old, I fell in love with David Robinson, and so I'm a Spurs fan.
Well, I was just kind of thinking about this in terms of Miles Turner, who has had an interesting week in terms of the fan base around here. November the 3rd, when the Bucks play down here, is going to be incredibly interesting as well. But I just think about Miles, as much as I supported him over the years, he's going to have a really difficult time, I think, cashing those checks that he's writing in terms of what the Bucks are going to want out of him as a player this year. So I didn't know. Being from Wisconsin, if you're a Bucks fan, that is got the potential to be incredibly awkward sooner rather than later up there this year.
I think so. Yeah. There's some interest in there, but yeah, I've never really been. I don't know why. You'd have to ask 5-year-old Joel why David Robinson captured the imagination.
That makes sense, though. It really does. All right, Joel. First and Joel on Fox 59 with Hagan coming up this weekend, right?
You bet. And we're live this week because it's actually a 1 o'clock game.
Yes, you are going to be live this weekend, and also on Fox television-wise, as we talked to Chris Myers yesterday. Joe, always a pleasure, man. It was great to see you yesterday. Man, make that a point to come out as much as you can, okay?
I will do my level best.
So Joel A. Erickson of the Star on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. First and Joel with Chris Hagan, and again, that game televised on Fox coming up this weekend. But right here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan, and 97.1 Hank FM, where you can hear our good friend Greg Rakestraw on the postgame show with Bill Brooks coming up on Sunday, too.
That is correct. Now, I know that I try to play to your wheelhouse when I can.
Yes.
If I can make a comparison to current events and the movie Can't Buy Me Love.
Yes.
So knowing you've had cast members of said movie on lengthy interviews on the shows before, Courtney Gaines was the actor that played Ronald McDonald Miller's friend that had the flaming bag on his.
Right.
You kind of feel like Courtney when it comes to Miles Turner right now, don't you?
A little bit. It's been like 8 years.
That he's blanking on
support.
your house because of how big of a fan of Miles you were.
I've always felt this way, that I could have helped if he were to just say, hey, how should I handle this? I could have helped. But instead, I think he went like the Victor Oladipo help route.
Which did not go well.
It did not go well whatsoever. No. He is there. Here's what's going to happen. November the 3rd is a Monday night. They're going to have a video of him. And he's going to get fortunate because there's going to be a lot of paying customers there that aren't going to feel like a lot of the fans do. But there are going to be boos when really for him, there should not be boos just because of how he has handled this offseason. And really all he has to do is say, you know what? This team has tried to screw me over and trade me so many times and sign some other dude, and I should be – I think people would understand the grudge and why you would be pissed. But instead, he's kind of mixed this up and muddied the water between the fans and him, and I just don't think there's going to be walking that back.
I think the Pacers are truly appreciative of what Miles was to them for the last decade. I'm wondering if they don't have a video for him for that exact reason, because almost to save him from himself.
You have to have a video of him.
I think they will. I think the people that would put it out on social media, I'm not sure they'll play it in the building.
Don't you have to, though?
But let me give you an example of, because this was a concern, and people treated it exceedingly well. So for the Colts, the preseason opener, obviously in all places, is in Baltimore.
Yeah.
First game involving the Colts since the passing of Jim Irsay. And we were told, hey, they're going to do a moment of silence and a tribute for Jim in Baltimore. And we're all kind of, those of us there are like, really? How do we think this is going to go? If you go back and look at the broadcast, we did not carry that live for a reason.
Yeah.
In case that went bad, thankfully the fans were pretty gracious about it.
Right.
And there, I didn't hear.
Well, this is not a death.
I know, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
You know, that's common sense. Common sense and being a fan are usually in the same circle.
Sure.
All right. So, but I'm curious if they play the video. Again, social media is one thing. Playing in the arena is another, because you do it to get somebody to cheer the man. And I'm not sure that's going to be the case.
I just think that if you don't do it, if you're the Pacers,
I would agree. Yep.
You want to be above all this?
In other words, you put it on the fans.
Right.
And not on the organization.
No,
I get it.
You want to be above all this, and I think that they will play something. He could have handled this. All he has to do is say, you know what? All the years I've been there in my career developed me to who I am right now, and I felt it was time to move on. And if you want to be pissed at the organization, whether it's Kevin or Chad, then be pissed at him. But you can never lump in the fans or the teammates that are still there and competing, because they carried your ass in really a lot of parts of that postseason.
Let me give you a homework assignment as I have to exit and actually go do the day job. I want you to think of a Pacer that exited gracefully, because immediately I go, Paul George, no.
Right.
Victor Oladipo, no. Miles Turner, no. So let's think about the Pacer that actually maybe Bojan Bogdanovic might have been in that group.
One's a much less consequence. Those.
True. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So one's, whatever.
Right.
So.
And again, was Miles, Paul, or Victor? No, but he would have been just behind those
Nobody
two.
was pissed off at Sabonis.
Correct. Yeah, he was traded. Everybody understood.
Right. So, yeah.
You know what pisses me off?
What's that?
The fact that I've got 5 ice-cold Bud Lights.
How about that right in front of your face?
I can't have one. If I was doing a Catholic school game, maybe I could have one. But because I've got, Lawrence North and Warren Central, I have to bypass on this and save them for you for the next 90 minutes of the show.
What time you guys kick tonight?
We kick at 7 o'clock. Actually, kick is 7:07. That's a television secret.
Yeah.
Coverage starts at 7 o'clock on MyNDTV 23.
And that is a game of the week, right?
That is our game of the week. That is one of a couple, if not 3, top 10 matchups in 6A. That is for the MIC Championship. Both those two are 5-1. Both are undefeated in league play. This is actually Warren's last league game. They are 4-0 going into this one. Should be a really good game.
So Alicia behind you with our promo staff is the coach of the tennis team at Warren right there. Greg played tennis at UIndy.
So she's the coach. She's the coach of last year's individual state champion.
Correct. Huh?
Middle school.
Oh, middle school. I'm sorry, she's a tennis coach in Warren Township.
But she can claim a state champion.
She can claim it. There's no doubt
She's
about
really
that.
good.
She is a good tennis player, much like you are.
We got to figure this out.
All right, man. Good to have you. Thanks for coming out.
Of course.
So Greg Rakestraw right there lives about 4 blocks away from Binkley's. That is our location. We'll come back with time for your call. See you, Greg, at 239-1070. If you're a College and Kessler, honk the horn. Let us know that you're listening right now, too. We appreciate that. Bud Light Blue Friday, Raiders Colts tickets and gear to give away with our friends from Zinc. Do not go anywhere. Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, a little more than 30 minutes away. I've got stuff to give away. Bullseye passes for Sunday, plus Jefferson Starship and Kansas tickets before we bail as well. The stream, the app, HD Radio, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Stick and stay, and if you've got time, join us here. We're at Binkley's on College in Kessler with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. what we expect him to be, then it is going to be in the now, in the moment. And when I went to media day, which I rarely do, I went to media day on Monday, and it looks like that he is locked in with that particular thought of being what everybody thinks he can be this particular season, which is necessary for this team.
Absolutely. And, nothing better than a guy in a contract here.
Yeah, no, that too.
That always seems to help spur guys along. But I feel like for him, it's not even the contract. He wants to show what he can do to be a legitimate star in the league and worthy of that, that lottery pick.
Has to do that with Rick too.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Rick, before, like anybody else, is probably the one that is a little bit apprehensive about, all right, so our system and him, I don't know. But I think there are going to be a lot of aspects in which Rick's going to have to live with to see if Matherin ultimately evolves to what you hope he is.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're focusing more on defense with him now. They're talking about expanding his game and the fact that he needs to run as the team runs. I mean, that's for them to play better, which people, I believe, overlook. Their style of play, the effort and the energy for 48 minutes, full court, all that, there's a lot of that's a plug and play. You just got to get that effort that other NBA teams don't usually get. And that's where they've always had an advantage here with this group. So, maintaining that style of play is going to be where they find their success. And Matherin's got to plug into that and do his part.
A shout out to the lovely Melissa and Jeremiah from Pittsburgh who are walking in here right now. Binkley's is our location. We're in Broad Ripple. We're on College and Kessler, and by God, I would love to see you here, just like I just saw Jeremiah and Melissa, but I would also like to hear from you as well. Yeah, if you're riding the Avant-Garde transportation bus right now, shout out to you because you're right in front of our face. But seriously, if you're driving by, give us a honk and let us know you're here. Courtney, the owner, is going to rejoin in a little bit. Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, he is also coming up on the show on this Friday. Bud Light Blue Friday with Raiders Colts tickets to give away with our great friends from Zinc and Bud Light coming up a little bit later on. So you look at that, and you look at the transformation, I guess, of sorts of Andrew Nembhard. That was another topic of conversation on Monday. How do you expect him to look compared to how this team has this past year, how they want to play? Because he not only has that responsibility now offensively of Halliburton, but he's always carried that responsibility of the best player on the defensive end.
Yeah, that's the main thing with Nembhard is, can he continue to guard the best guy? Is he going to get help, with TJ McConnell playing the point guard or whoever they bring in to help handle some of those duties? Or is he going to have to lessen his defensive impact? And for him also, staying healthy is, he and Siakam got to stay healthy. And they, at least Nembhard, kind of struggled with that during the regular season a little bit. So that is a big question mark. But that guy is just a stone cold killer. And you give him a task, and I can't wait to see how he lifts his game to take on the responsibility.
I agree with that too. And then talking about guys that are taking the place, it's like 3 to make 1 right here for Miles. And one of the guys I do want to talk about is Isaiah Jackson coming back from injury. Obviously James Wiseman also coming back, but let's focus in on Isaiah Jackson. If there is a guy that you don't want to see robbed of any athleticism whatsoever, it is certainly him, because he has a multitude of that. But how are they going to make up for Miles in the capacity in which they brought guys in so far? Really a trio of those.
Right, absolutely. I mean,
maybe even 4 if you count Tony Bradley as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you need Jackson to be a guy that can defend around the rim. Yeah. And then, he can run with the best of them when he's healthy. And, unlike Miles, he can run, catch, and jump kind of at the same time. He has that ability, and it'd be nice to see if he can let all that talent get, kind of fall into place and be a big impact with that. And then they got the J. Huff and Wiseman, and you hope they can kind of fill in the gaps where he might fall short.
It's Tommy Lewis right there of Indy Cornrows. When are you going to start writing?
I I got some stuff in the hopper. I'm just ready to let it go. So
unleash that bad boy coming up here, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you got to get past this Mariners postseason first.
I
Is that
know
what you're doing?
it's been fun. Been down to IU a lot for some football tailgating, and
got the week off for that too. I did think the IU event yesterday on Kirkwood for basketball. I thought that was an awesome event.
Yeah,
now did Sicily really hit that shot, or is that like done? Do we know?
It appears he hit it.
It looked like Does anybody know? Because it looked like he hit it to me, but then sometimes you don't know if there's some editing going on. So Trent Sicily was above the five guys on Kirkwood on the balcony and shot onto Kirkwood where the goal was set up between Nick's and Upstairs Pub and banked it home. So was that real, or was there any, I guess, editing going on there? It looked real to me.
I think I saw another angle from the other side of the court.
Yeah, it looked real.
It looked real. That was the other one where they changed the camera.
And Tommy, let everybody know that's what we do from Southern. That's shot making from Southern Indiana right there. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
That's what happens. I mean, here's Santa Claus, Heritage Hills, Southern Indiana. They're shot makers. So if you're going to shoot it on the balcony above five guys on Kirkwood to a goal, then you're probably going to make it most times. But I just kind of wondered in this world in which we live in if that was real or if that was a little make-believe.
Yeah, I mean, but what an event down there. That's awesome.
It was nice. Tommy, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming out. Tom Lewis right there of Indy Cornrows. His Pacer coverage you can find right there. Hey, James, do you know this to be true? Was that Sicily shot? Was that legit? Because IU fans are telling me it was legit.
I am not 100% sure. I am trying to find out right now.
All right. If you could tell me that. IU fans, you could tell me if that was legit, because it looked like it was to me. That was, I don't know why more is not made about that. When you shoot it from a balcony onto the street as he did, that's pretty damn amazing right there. Quick break, we'll come back. Binkley's, we're in Broad Ripple. We're at College and Kessler. Honk if you're going by. And if you honk, that means you got time to stop as well. Ice cold Bud Light Blue Friday. Voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher, top of the hour. We got that and more for you. What a great place. The wings, the pizza. Courtney is the owner, and the great food on a Bud Light Blue Friday, on a glorious Friday in the heart of Broad Ripple right here. Man, join us. Binkley's, College, and Kessler. At the very least, honk when you drive by to make sure we know that you're listening to 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
For a banana in the tailpipe.
You're not gonna fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
It should be more natural, brother. It should flow out like this. Look, man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
College and Kessler. That's our location at Binkley's. If you guys are driving down College and Kessler, make sure you honk. Now, listen, ice cold Bud Light's ready to go and great food right here. So I would expect you to go ahead and stop, but holy hell, at the very least, honk and make sure that you're listening right here. Harley D is riding shotgun with me on this show. He just won these shoes. I'm jealous. Now, I have my own Pacer shoes from them, but these are Colts, Bud Light, Colts shoes, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Check these out. These are badass right here, man. Goodness gracious, those look good. So these are the types of things. I mentioned gear. You can win these and T-shirts and then Raiders Colts tickets here. This is what we have for you at Binkley's on College in Kessler. Those are great. AAA Membership Lounge. You can check that out. Man, you're going to wear those. Those look good. The Pacer ones I have, every time I wore those, they won. And I went with Tommy S. of Coaches all the time to playoff games, and every time that I wore those Pacer shoes from Zinc, that they won. So, I mean, Harley D, your good luck charm right there. Hey, by the way, I asked this question, and this comes from the text line at 317-239-1070. My son Eric was there last night on Kirkwood and saw the Sicily shot, and it was legit. It went in. That's from Todd. So I don't know if you've seen that video. The freshman Trent Sicily from Heritage Hills in Santa Claus actually threw one in from the deck area above Five Guys on Kirkwood. So they had this basketball event. I think Jeremy Gray was a part of it and others down there too. But they had this basketball event on Kirkwood between the upstairs, a spot where we're going to be on a Thursday coming up in November. But upstairs pub and Nick's. And they had a basketball goal and shooting and all this stuff out there, and it was really well attended. It was a great event, and Sicily threw one in from the balcony above the Five Guys right there, somebody's apartment, and that's pretty awesome. And I was kind of wondering if that was legit, and then they tell me now that it was absolutely legit. So cool. And by the way, we'll be at Upstairs coming up in the month of November on a Thursday with our Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Again, a honk if you're going by. We are live at Binkley's. We're in Broad Ripple at College and Kessler. Honk if you're going by, but better yet, stop. Get the ice cold Bud Light, and maybe you can win some Raiders Colts tickets as well. Win Schuler Spreadability. We got you covered for the fall. Original sharp cheddar, bacon and cheddar, and jalapeno pepper. You can find it at all the Meijer locations in central Indiana. Gordon Foods as well. And if you see it, make sure you take a picture of it and send it to me at JMV 1070 so everybody can enjoy the spreadability and the fall months that are here right now. The spreadability of Win Schuler's cheeses. Again, find it in your favorite grocer's refrigerator today. The voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher, and more. Your chance to win Bud Light Blue Friday at Binkley's and Broad Ripple. Don't go anywhere. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
I don't know what the hell's in there. It's weird and pissed off, whatever it is.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, we're at College in Kessler. I thank you so much for joining us. JMV Takeover tomorrow night's got a lot of hairband action, so be ready for that. Text line 317-239-1070. Chris here, back in Hollywood, Florida, listening via iHeartRadio. Longtime listener will be listening all winter from warmer weather. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Chris, from the state of Florida. We are again at Kessler and College. Honk if you're going by. We'd love to hear from you, too. We'd love to see you on a Bud Light Blue Friday. At Binkley's, our location. And we'll talk to the owner, Courtney, coming up one more time before the end of the show. But we would love to see you here, but we'd love to hear from you, too, if you can't stop. So just let us know, as many have done so far, that you are listening to the show. We appreciate that very much. Meantime, this weekend, I mentioned the JMV Takeover tomorrow night on B105.7. We start at 9 a.m. The BullseyeEventGroup.com Colts VIP tailgate with me. Coming up on Sunday morning, Kevin Bowen's going to join. Kirk Morrison, the former linebacker of the Raiders from the radio network, will be there. And Chris Myers of Fox, who has the call, coming up on Sunday. Also before 10, at 10, the American Family Insurance Touchdown Towns location, 10 until noon. That is the Colts pregame huddle with me and Joe Wrights and Bill Brooks and Casey Valier, Rick Venturi, all coming up on Sunday. So, yeah, your weekend is planned out via us with all the sports going on. But at Binkley's today, we would love to see you with the great food and the ice-cold Bud Light on a Blue Friday. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he's got a weekend off. A little bye week for the Hoosiers. Next week on the road in Eugene, Oregon against Oregon. But this week, the week off for the football Hoosiers. Voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So what are we doing this weekend with that weekend off, Don?
Well, I'm sorry, John, but I can't go to dinner tonight at our table because I'll be at my son's football game tonight.
I figured.
Over in Ellettsville. So I apologize for saying last week that I'd join you, and then I can't do it because of the football game tonight. But then tomorrow, I'm going to Greencastle to watch my grandson play football for the DePaul Tigers. So at any rate, I've got plenty of football this weekend anyway, and then I'm going to play golf on Sunday, which will round out a week of golf for the most part.
That is well done. Are you going to Legends tomorrow?
Tomorrow, no. It'll be Sunday if Susie and I will find a place to play, depending on where we think it's going to be the least busy.
Yeah, well, Ted's always pretty busy down there too, isn't he? But I'm assuming he would make room pretty quickly for you and Susie if need be. I think you'd be okay.
I would not try to put upon Ted to find me a place or shove me in there someplace. No, we'll probably go to the Legends, but we could play someplace else depending on what we think from a busy standpoint is, because we like to play in about 3.5 hours if we can, and most of the time you can't do that just about any place on a weekend.
Well, how about Bloomington Par 3? Just go at night when they have their lights on, and you can hear it. You can hit it into the fog and then out of the fog at the same time. You know what I'm talking about, the Par 3 in Bloomington?
Yeah, you mean that Par 3 that's on on the first, like if you take the first exit to Bloomington off the interstate, in that Par 3 down there that floods every single time it rains.
Yes, that place. When it rains, it's closed. Yeah.
I think I went there one time just to see what it was like, and I don't think I finished the second hole. I think I went back to my car.
Oh man, the Par 3. That's where I played golf. Being from Greene County, that's where I played golf often down there because it was right next to there was the Y&W Drive-In, which had the infamous or famous, whatever you might view, all-nighters there with movies. But, yeah, I played a lot of golf under the lights there just for something to do back in the day at the Bloomington Par 3. But you're right. When it rained, yeah, you couldn't play because it was flooded out.
And it's still there. I mean, it's still open, so there are a lot of people that still play there.
The Bloomington Par 3. By the way, the Stallions, the Mustangs of Edgewood, host Sullivan later
Yeah.
on tonight. I know it's a bummer because the Stangs are coming off their first loss of the season to Beach Grove, but still at 5-1. A really nice beginning to things for your son in that group.
Yeah, there's no doubt. They've had a good season up to this point, and hopefully they win a couple more ball games before the playoffs begin. They've got the toughest part of their schedule, however, this last stretch of the season. So it's going to be a challenge. There's no question about it. But these kids have fought their butts off this year, love the way they play, and they show a lot of heart. If they make 3 plays last week, they win the ball game. But they didn't make the 3 plays that counted. 2 field goal attempts were no good, and then a touchdown pass that was caught in the end zone and dropped. Those 3 pretty much put the nail in the coffin, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's sometimes that's the way that it happens. And Don, sometimes it's been historic the way that it's happened in Iowa for this IU football program. And I mentioned this early in the week. A game like that, historically speaking, is a game that the IU football program in the past has lost. That's
right.
I don't know how people view it. There are a lot of people saying, well, the play calling this and that and the backup. I don't give a damn about any of that. Historically speaking, in Iowa, a game that's grinded out like that is the game that IU loses. And this is, once again, another sign of how different this era is with Curt Cignetti. That's a game that they go up and they pull out of the fire and they win.
That's exactly right. And I agree with you 100%. That's the game that Indiana would have lost in the past. This team put together the right scenario at the end of the ball game to find a way to win it, and they showed that kind of resilience throughout that ball game on Saturday too, because that was a tough test. Iowa's a team that you cannot take lightly. It's a team that will play right down to the end of the ball game. And had their quarterback not gotten hurt, it might have been a different story. But Indiana found a way to finish the game, to get a win, and there's no question it was a big I don't want to say that. I will say this, John. It was not one of those ball games that if you win it, it's not that big a deal, but if you lose it, it is a big deal. And they found a way to win it. That's the key.
Well, a lot of the hopes are dashed if you lose that game. Right. And really, now that's why you kind of set the stage for next week in Eugene as this being just such a mammoth type of game. And, that is I just think there are a lot of gauges that you see along the way, whether it was a year ago in year number 1 of Cignetti or this year. And that was a test. The way that Iowa plays, the way that most of the time Iowa wins at home, all these things they're very good at over the year, and the history with Kirk Ferentz was something that IU got a win and sidestepped. I think that's just important in the grand scheme of the goals of this team in year number 2 of Cignetti.
Yep, there's no doubt. It was a game that you wanted them to win, and they needed to win it, and they found a way to do it. So from my standpoint, you can't ask for any more than that, especially a place and a venue where Indiana has really struggled over the years. They've lost, they haven't played but 3 times in the last 10 years, and they lost all 3 of them. So it just tells you, and 2 of those were in Iowa City. So it just tells you how difficult it is, and they hadn't won there since 2007. So you figure the math there.
Is Fernando Mendoza the best quarterback you've seen play in calling IU games over the years? And listen, you've had good quarterbacks. People will say, well, it's IU. No, Trent Green was a great quarterback. You've seen Randall L. was a great quarterback. You've seen a variety of great quarterbacks. Where's Mendoza so far in his short career with his IU football program through your eyes?
It's hard to evaluate at this point, John, just because we've only seen them in 5 ball games. And obviously Indiana's won those 5. I like what I see from this young man. I don't think there's any doubt his talent level may be the best we've ever seen at IU. And here's the caveat there. When you go back over the years and you look at Indiana quarterbacks, we've had some really good ones over the years. And Antoine Randall L., in my mind, was the best athlete that we've ever seen on a football field since I've been at Indiana. And I'm talking about Indiana players now. Nobody was a better athlete on the football field than Antoine Randall, period. Now, was he as good a thrower as Fernando? He had just as strong an arm, but I don't think he was quite as accurate as Fernando has been. And Mendoza right now is got people looking at him from the NFL. And the scouts are taking a long look at this guy. A lot of people are salivating at his size and his speed, along with his ability to throw the football and the accuracy that he's shown thus far. So at this juncture, I would say he's probably going to put himself in a position to be one of the best, if not the best, that we've seen at IU over the years. But that's still, 7 ball games of the regular season remaining, and you don't want to go off the deep end and saying something like that and then be proven wrong.
Well, and a year ago, we also saw Rourke was really good at what he did tremendous as well. Yeah, so, I mean, it's a high bar that has been set. It's funny. So Kirk Morrison is the radio analyst for the Raiders, a former Raider player, and he does it for ESPN as well. And he follows around the ACC and did a lot of the Cal games with Mendoza a year ago. And he said, you know what, I saw that. And this stands to the conversations you and I have had. When Curt Cignetti put together this team, he kind of wanted to make sure here that the offensive line was as best it can be because of what Mendoza went through a year ago at Cal. And I think that is all important in just how this team has performed offensively so far. Having an offensive line to where your decisions are better because the protection is better than what he witnessed in Berkeley a year ago with the Bears.
Well, I will tell you this, that Buxor, my color analyst, who I believe emphatically that this guy knows as much about football as anybody that's on the air. And I will tell you this, that he still thinks that Indiana's offensive line is one of the best in the Big Ten. He really believes that. He says these guys are doing a great job there. He's not saying that they don't get beat every now and then. Tell me what team, I don't care how good they are, doesn't have an offensive line that gets beat now and then. But the fact of the matter is, this offensive line has done a great job of protecting him. I think he got sacked one time last week, maybe twice. I think he's only been sacked like maybe 3 or 4 times all year long at this juncture. So he's got much better protection than he had in any time last year at Cal. And at this point, he's throwing the football and having more confidence in his throwing because he has the time to do it almost every time he goes back to throw it. So at this point, you got to feel very good about what you've seen.
So Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Yeah, I completely agree with that as well. I was listening to you guys on Saturday, and, Buck was talking about so many things, and you're right. He normally is so accurate. And the one thing that stood out, I completely was in agreement. And, ended up IU won because of just some late play, obviously, with Mendoza and Surratt and all that. But when he was talking about, sometimes against this team, the way that they play, I mean, you really got to maximize the points, even if it is 3. And I thought at the time, and that kind of stands to what you're talking about with Buck, knowing what he's talking about on the air with you, it was so incredibly accurate. I thought the same thing. Against Iowa, it's just kind of different than if you're playing against Illinois or when you're playing against Oregon, where you want to probably maximize making sure you get 7. 3 against Iowa is pretty dynamic considering how they play and how they want to grind you. And when he said that, he was absolutely right on the money.
Well, and here's the other thing too. Talk about one of the best parts of that ball game for Indiana was the timeouts that were taken at the very end of the first half that gave Indiana a chance to get the ball down the field and get 3 on the board to tie the ball game at the break. That momentum change, and I don't say it was a dramatic momentum change because it wasn't dramatic, but it gave Indiana a little spark going into that locker room because they were behind at that point. And so when you look at what Indiana was able to do that last, I think it was only like 20, maybe 25 seconds or something like that they had, and the way that they went about their business, and again, that's Curt Cignetti all over the place in regard to how smart he is when it comes to making the right calls and adjustments that you've got to make. That guy just knows exactly what he was doing, and to get that 3 points at halftime, that was I don't want to say a miracle in any way, shape, or form, but it was really important, and he found a way to get it done.
Yeah, Don, I try to remind people of this as well because I have a lot of longtime IU football fans that are listeners, and they kind of fall in the category of thinking, well, this is the same old, same old. And I try to remind them that their memory is not the memory of Curt Cignetti. His view of IU football is completely different than ours. And I think that we have seen that in his coaching style, and that is another reason why when Scott Dolson made that choice to bring him in from James Madison, it is so important because there's no memory of what IU used to be. It's about what IU is right now, and I constantly have to remind people that listen to this show that very thing.
Yep, I think people have to understand this is not the same Indiana football program that we've seen in the past, and at any point in time, for that matter. And there's no doubt that Bill Mallory teams back in the 80s and the early 90s were really good, and they played great football, and it was fun to watch, and you were always excited about what the possibilities were. Did they always get it done? No, but they always played so competitively and so tough against almost everybody that they played in every ball game. And we're seeing beyond that now. We're seeing winning, almost winning every ball game, despite whatever other people think or what they thought. I mean, what they did to Illinois was astounding. I don't care what anybody says. They went into that ball game, and everybody thought Illinois was going to give them a real battle. In fact, many people picked them, all the big experts and so on and so forth on television and everything, all picked Illinois to win that game, and Indiana destroyed them. This is not the same old Indiana. And I'm not saying Indiana's going to win every ball game. All I'm going to tell you is they will be competitive in every ball game.
It's Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, on his way to Ellettsville. Shout out to the Village Inn. I don't think he'll be going there, but the Village Inn is in Ellettsville, Indiana.
That's true.
Yeah, not going there. Hey, I did want to bring this up, and I'm sure you were not a part of it. And I'm sure you're not there, and hell, you probably haven't seen any of it because a lot of what I witnessed was on social media. But they had a nice event. I know Jeremy Gray was a part of that, putting that on Kirkwood for Indiana basketball last night, and their new head coach, Darren DeVries, showed up. I thought that was a pretty solid event from what I had witnessed, at least in social media. And then watching, I was trying to verify whether or not Sicily hit that shot from the balcony over 5 guys on Kirkwood last night, but evidently he did. I just think for what is necessary for the IU basketball program and what we know that now to be, I thought last night was a nice Kirkwood event for him.
It was, and it was a ton of people were there, and about 95 to 99% of those fans were Indiana students. It was basically one of those events for the student body to come and be a part of because it was right there in Kirkwood. And it was well attended. It looked like standing room only around the court and all that kind of thing. And it was all about special events, shooting contests, and all those kinds of things. There was no scrimmage that I was aware of, or anything like that. And I was not there last night. It was primarily for the student body to be there, and that's who showed up for that thing. And then tonight, of course, they are having a public scrimmage in IU's Assembly Hall. So they'll have that scrimmage tonight, and anybody that wants to go can be there.
Shout out to Steve Engel, by the way. Steve Engel and Rags. That's upstairs and across the way, Nick's Institutions on Kirkwood, that I'm assuming had a great deal. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Darren DeVries bought a round of drinks for everybody in the upstairs pub last night. So automatically he gets a head start over everybody else here recently. Automatically.
Well, here's what I know about Darren. He has already proven to me that he's a little more savvy in regard to the fan base than pretty much anybody we've had in the last 8 or so years, if you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, I have to hear about him all the time because you get all my friends from Iowa that come on the show all the time. Chad Buchanan being certainly one. They all talk him up how legit he is, and I thought last night was, you're right, being savvy and legit. It's kind of the same thing here, Don. It is.
Yeah. Well, look, he was the guy that suggested having this event because he did it, I think, when he was at Drake. A couple of years while he was at Drake. He said yesterday when I was at practice yesterday, and he said there's a possibility that this will be the first and only one of these that we ever do. He says that it'll be interesting to see he said it'll be interesting to see what kind of a turnout we have and those kinds of things. And my gut is they'll probably do it again next year now because it looked to be a very successful night last evening. And it's PR. It's PR for the program. And obviously, I think he really understands that part of the business, and that's huge.
Let me tell you this, too. Trent Sicily knocking down that shot. That's Southern Indiana basketball. That's Southern Indiana hooper right there. That's just the shots we hit from Southern Indiana, Don, right there. That's what happens.
Let me make a little prediction for you, John, in
Yes.
regard to a player. And I rarely do this, but I really think that kid is going to be a great player at IU. I really do. He has shown me in the games that I saw him play in Puerto Rico that he doesn't mind the big stage. In fact, he embraces it, and he doesn't look like a guy that's just a freshman on campus. He looks to me like a guy that really knows what he's doing out there, and I hope that he could play 2 or 3 years at IU, or maybe even 4. I would doubt that because I think he's that good. I think he's really going to be a factor this year as well.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, he and Susie will not be able to watch me drink beers in front of them tonight. We'll save that for another time. But certainly enjoy your son down in Edgewood against Sullivan later on tonight, and we'll figure out a time when we can hit our table again here very soon, okay?
Sounds good, man. See ya.
Yeah, Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Binkley's in Broad Ripple. College and Kessler. Honk when you're going by. Stop in for ice cold Bud Light, great food, and your chance to win Raiders Colts tickets. James, I'm going to hit the head really quick. Come right back. 239-1070. If you want to call, we'll take your calls. That and more. Again, a glorious Friday in Broad Ripple at Binkley's with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
This channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
Lady, do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza? 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I've got one heck of an idea for you. You guys ready? Hey, shout out to Binkley's. We'll come back with Courtney in a minute. Yeah, we're at the intersection of College and Kessler. I want to hear from you, so honk when you go by. Or hell, stop. Kansas Jefferson Starship coming up October the 10th at Everwise Amphitheater. That is downtown. It is going to be a great show. I'm going to tell you what. You talk about a catalog of hits with Kansas and Jefferson Starship. That is it. Number 9 at 239-1070. Because I love you. You've got tickets, and you can go Kansas, Jefferson, Starship, Everwise, Amphitheater, October the 10th. Number 9 is a winner. Man, this has been great. Don Fisher's all wound up. Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers. I know the weekend is all for IU. They get Oregon and Eugene coming up next Saturday. But, yeah, we talked about a variety of things. And the whole Iowa insight I thought was really good. And I was listening to Don and Buck on Saturday, this past Saturday, in that game. And I thought Buck was on target with a lot of things, too, especially the way that you play the Hawkeyes in those situations. But then we also talked about that deal on Kirkwood with the basketball program last night. That looked like that went really well, and everybody is telling me that the Sicily shot from the balcony above Five Guys was absolutely true. So that is good as well. Also true how you can win tickets to the game coming up on Sunday. The Raiders and the Colts. Our friends from Zinc, Jim Jr., the gang are here. Grant and everybody. It's just an awesome time at Binkley's. We're at College and Kessler, and look who is joining us again. The awesome Courtney, who is the owner. 5 years, you say, right now?
It'll be 6 in November.
6 in November for what is an awesome, and I'm going to tell you what, the other thing about it is, this is the best-looking group we've ever had right here. Everybody in here is just incredibly great-looking.
They are.
How do you do? Is there a prerequisite to come in and just look awesome? That's
I think
it.
Beauty just attracts beauty, so I think that's just
beauty attracts beauty. There's no doubt. Courtney has brought that in right here. Man, thank you for having us here today.
Hey, no, thank you for being here.
Yeah, this has been fantastic. You got a busy weekend planned, do you?
I hope so. We got Butler. Thad Mata brings the team in quite a bit.
Does he really?
Oh, he does a lot. They do a lot for us.
That's a good dude.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. This is one of the iconic spots here, by the way, too. I mean, there's so much history with this location and this part of Indianapolis. Has to make it even more special for you.
Yeah, we have people constantly coming in telling stories about when this was a pharmacy, when they were 2 years old, 10 years old. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Wow. It is pretty awesome. It is really here, too. So pizza, wings, what else on that menu that we got to love around here?
You know, if you don't want to go heavy, you can do salads. Our salads are pretty amazing, too.
Oh, somebody had told me when they walked out that was like the steak salad. You got a steak salad on the menu here?
Blue.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that as well.
Yep,
no doubt.
That's probably one of our number ones. We have wraps. We pretty much cover all across the board.
So have you had to try to evolve just a little bit and enjoying the Steelers over this 5-year, almost 6-year process now?
You know, I walked in and I just took them in.
Did you? Oh, yeah. It makes
they're easy to embrace.
Now, what makes you
easier than most?
What makes you want to take over this? Because I mean, there's a lot, especially when you're thinking about what 5, almost 6 years ago, the COVID was going on. There's a lot of uncertainty here. What made you want to walk in here and do what you're doing right now at such a high level?
You know, honestly, I don't even know. I walked in and then realized I had no idea what I was doing.
Cool, great.
I'm not going to lie. I had no idea what I was doing.
My entire life right there. That's exactly
And we went with it, and my staff picked me up and was like, we're doing it. And we did. And we're still here, so.
And like when you mentioned that, situations like that, normally you lean on people that have been there and done that with the knowledge. And I'm assuming with your staff, it's been pretty nice to be able to lean on people with that knowledge that maybe at that point in time you didn't have.
We did it together. That's what we learned.
Yeah.
Because nobody knew what they were doing.
Yeah, well, this has been everything that I thought. And we'll certainly hang around. Anything going on this weekend you want to talk about in weeks to come? Well, are we going to be back? I sure as hell we better be back. I hope so.
I'm going to ask if you guys will come back.
We got to get Zink, and I know they're all down there right now. We got to get Zink to bring us back. I'm telling you. I know that my good friend Brent Halverson of Heaven Hill probably could bring us.
He's from Seymour. He grew up in the southern Indiana. That's where my husband's from.
Oh, your husband's from Seymour. Brent Halverson is from Seymour as well.
Sure is.
Now, where are you originally from?
Indianapolis. I've been in 46220 my whole life.
All right, so where'd you go to high school here?
Chittard.
Wow, that makes sense. That's why you got such a Chittard influence going on here.
I do.
As well. Nothing wrong with that. All right, Courtney, what are your hours and times, and make sure everybody knows how they can come by and catch you.
Our bar's open till midnight every night. There's tons of sports going on, so our kitchen typically closes 10 o'clock during the week and 11 o'clock on the weekends.
Well, hey, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
This has been absolutely outstanding.
No, this has been wonderful.
And make sure Jim Jr., the gang from Zink, bring us back, or Brent brings us over here as well. We have something called Tavern Tour Stops with Brent that I think would go really well here at some point.
Yes.
So, yeah, awesome. Hey, thank you very much, Courtney.
Thank you.
Courtney is the owner. Ask for Courtney when you come to Binkley's here. There you go. Get a round of applause for Courtney right there on the show. Man, thank you all for honking when you drive by as well. We would rather you stop and take part in our event. But if you honk and you know and you tell people that you're listening, that's been pretty awesome. Thank you guys for doing that.
Well, thank you guys.
Courtney, thank you very much. Courtney, the owner of Binkley's, here today on a Bud Light Blue Friday. Raiders Colts tickets. We still have those to give away. Got a busy weekend coming up. I'll explain. My man Harley D's been riding shotgun with me all show. I do appreciate that as well. Hey, 239-1070. That is the text line, too. This is from Matt, JMV, I heard you talking about Sicily's rooftop shot earlier on the show. Matt says it took him 7 attempts to hit it. I don't care if it took him 100. That's incredible to watch that. But that video last night for what went down on Kirkwood, and I should mention this too. This is going to be a Thursday. That's going to be a Larceny Locks Luna Azul Tequila Shots Thursday. In the month of November, we will be at Upstairs in Bloomington. So that is coming up in November, Upstairs in Bloomington for you as well with Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. All right, couple of things, too. No Major League Baseball later on tonight. The wild card games are all complete. Now, it does officially get underway coming up tomorrow. You've got a lot going on as far as the NLDS is concerned. Game 1, Cubs on the road in Milwaukee. That is underway at 2 o'clock coming up tomorrow afternoon. So, Cubs fans, I know you're going to be caring about that. Yankees and Blue Jays a little bit after 4 on Fox coming up tomorrow afternoon. Game 1 of their ALDS. Dodgers and Phillies from Philadelphia. A little bit after 6 tomorrow night, Game 1 of the NLDS, and the Tigers and the Mariners. So some teams, we'll see, too, if the baseball team, for example, like the Mariners, Phillies, Blue Jays, and Brewers, if it will take them a little bit of a minute to get started, if you view that kind of like what we view the NFL and wild cards, where if you get started the previous week, you kind of are ready and more prepared for what's up, man? Ready or more prepared for what's to come in the divisional round. We'll see if that holds true in Major League Baseball coming up tomorrow as the division series, Game 1s all officially get underway. I should also mention, coming up on Sunday morning, BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. I'm officially underway with that at 9 a.m. It's me and Kevin Bowen to start. He'll be on the phone with me from the Bullseye Event Center. Now, that's an hour before the doors open. But Kirk Morrison with the conversation we had this week, and Chris Myers also with a conversation. All coming up. Bullseye Event Center, that's on Sunday morning. The doors officially open at 10 a.m. All you can eat, all you can drink. BullseyeEventGroup.com and the Colts VIP tailgate. Log on and make sure you have your passes. BullseyeEventGroup.com. Kelsey Murphy has all the food for you there. DJ Skids, indoor and outdoor entertainment. All you can eat, all you can drink. Bullseye Event Center. That is coming up on Sunday. Again, I start things at 9 a.m. I'll move to Touchdown Town 10 until noon with the Colts pregame huddle, the American Family Insurance Touchdown Town. All right, coming up next, 50 in betting, 50 in dining, courtesy of Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. The Harrah's Hoosier Park race of the day. You've got horse racing going on through November. Somebody can win the 50 in betting and 50 in dining, courtesy of Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. That is in Anderson. Are you guys ready to go? It is your Harrah's Hoosier Park race of the day right now.
Got a cool soul patch.
He does, and a buttery smooth voice.
Oh, yeah.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Here's your park race of the day. Oh, yeah. God, White Snake from James. Little hairband weekend on B105.7 JMV takeover tomorrow night. Alex Barrett, 50 in betting, 50 in dining. Harris Leisure Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. Odds on Mr. Mamba paid $2.20. That was a $2 bet. The $2 exacta was $2.40. 50-cent trifecta, $3.70. The Harris Leisure Park the Harris Leisure Park Race of the Day. Tuesday through Friday, we do it in the 5 o'clock hour. You can find a horse at JMV 1070. We'll send that out, and you can win 50 in betting, 50 in dining from Harris Leisure Park Racing and Casino, where there is horse racing going on now through November. Harris Leisure Park Racing and Casino, that is in Anderson. Shout out to Joe Koppel, who is here from the station. I know we're in Koppel's neighborhood. Koppel is here. Man, Koppel and I work together on a lot of things, man. Koppel is a great dude. He is how you doing? Radio veteran right there as well. Hey, Sundown Gardens and Miss M's Home and Garden is another one of our Koppels right there. I also wanted to give a shout out to Sienna is here and Alicia is here. Our great promotion staff, and Meg. Meg is kind of new to the place. Meg has now been out on back-to-back JMV live shows. I think Meg is officially hooked, Dev. I don't think there's any way that Meg's not going to show up to any more live shows for us. We've had so many great folks, and obviously with Courtney, the owner of where we are today, Binkley's in Broad Ripple. Everybody that is honk coming by, College and Kessler, man, that is well appreciated. But certainly if you've stopped and you're going to hang, I'm going to hang here for a while. So feel free, if you're in and around on the inbound, to stop. I'll hang out with you for a little bit too on this Friday. At Binkley's, we are in Broad Ripple today. And again, always our shout out to Zinc Distributing, Jim Jr. and the gang over there that bring us to you every Friday on a Bud Light Blue Friday. Raiders and Colts tickets we are giving away. Man, you guys have been absolutely spectacular. Meantime, 239-1070 is that number. Harley D, man's been hanging with me as well. Let's get Adam on here before the end of the show. Adam, thank you for the time. How are you, brother?
Hey, how you been, John? Happy Friday.
Are you running anywhere this weekend, Adam?
I'll be running tomorrow a little bit. I got to wait. My best friend from high school, so about 19 years, he's flying in to hang out with me for the weekend. It was his birthday on the 28th, I believe it was. And I'm taking him to his first official NFL game on Sunday.
Well, are you going to come by and see me in Touchdown Town on Sunday?
Oh, yeah, of course. I gotta give you a shout out, and then I'm going to see if he can listen to you over there where he lives at. He lives in Arizona. So.
Oh, really? Oh, he's coming in from Arizona? Oh, great.
Yeah, we went to school together in Illinois, high school, and then I went to the military, and he went off to do his thing, and this is his first official football game, and I told him, I said, man, I got you. Come on down.
That is outstanding right there. Well, shout out to him. And, Adam, we cannot wait to see you guys coming up on Sunday. You got any picks, any predictions for us?
Well, I'm hoping the Colts shut down. We need this win at the home turf. So I'm hoping we can catch a rebuttal from that last game and fix a few things. I mean, I'm pretty upset that, Alec Pierce is out still, but, I mean, I'm sure we can handle the business.
Yeah. Well, and they should. I hate that Alec Pierce is out. I hate it more because consistently that's been kind of a situation with him, and that's a bummer too. But, I would agree with you. You have an opportunity here, Adam. You have, coming up on Sunday, a Raiders team without a left tackle or backup left tackle, and then the Cardinals are in here next week, and then you go on the road in L.A. where they're without both tackles because of injury. I mean, you have a really good opportunity. You talk about everybody, Adam, wanting this team to solidify. Their chance to solidify starts really this weekend. They missed that opportunity. And I think we all understand now that they can play. I mean, they can play. Hey, good to hear from you. They can play with a team that's as good as the Rams, but these are, I think, back-to-back-to-back weeks of solidification for this team. 2 at home and 1 on the road.
Yeah, and I believe we got it. I believe we can do it. I bleed blue as well as you know. And I know you asked me earlier if I'm going to go out run. I got tomorrow off with my boys coming in. I'm going to go probably do a half marathon by myself tomorrow and just get prepped for the weekend. I'm going to hopefully have that shirt for you as well.
Well, I can't wait. Now, I will say this. Your boys coming in and hanging out sounds fun, but the running part sounds like punishment to me, man. I don't know about that.
Well, one of these days I'm going to have to get you out there. I mean, here, how about this? One of these days I'll go play basketball with you if you go out on the track.
Yes! Well, we can do that. Well, I will say this. I know they're playing this weekend without me because I have to start early at 9, so I can't play. So I think they're actually going to, which is really unfathomable how they're actually playing without me, but they are going to play. Evidently, they're going to play without me on Sunday.
Man, that's not right. You should have a theme song when you walk in the building.
Yeah, no doubt. I should walk right into Southport Fieldhouse, a little bit of something right there. All right, Adam, I'll see you in Touchdown Town coming up on Sunday.
All right, sounds good, John.
All right, man, there you go. Man, Binkley's has been outstanding. I do have sad news to share. If you remember him, I believe he was, James, was he not a Gregson signing during the Ryan Grigson era? Former Ravens and Colts defensive end Arthur Jones has passed away at the age of 39. And he is the brother. It is an incredibly athletic and successful family of UFC fighter John Bone Jones and also defensive lineman Chandler Jones. Arthur Jones spent time here, and Arthur Jones passed away at the age of 39. That was reported over the course of this show. So certainly sad news regarding that today. Again, I want to thank everybody. Alicia, thank you very much. You are outstanding. 2 days in a row for Alicia's hooked right here. Alicia and Meg both. There's zero way they're not going to want to be involved in our live shows for the future right here. Sienna, yeah, I saw Paul yesterday, saw Paul again today. Billy was here as well. Jeremiah and Melissa, all of our friends that follow around the show, they're awesome. Thank you guys for that. And I want to thank our good friends here now at Binkley's, and here's hoping that we can get back here again at Kessler and College for another show, a Bud Light Blue Friday. Zink and our friends next Friday. I want to say we're at Sam's Silver Circle next Friday, are we not? Near Fountain Square. That is another great spot for us. Sam's Silver Circle. That is coming up next Friday on a Bud Light Blue Friday. We're going to have Colts and Cardinals tickets for you next week. Also, this reminder, Monday, Twin Peaks and Castleton. So on the road, Twin Peaks and Castleton on Monday. Then Greg Rakestraw has me because part of my 24 days remaining of vacation, my mom's birthday, she's going to turn 80 coming up next week, and I'm going to head down to GC. So she wants to go to Jasper. So we're going to Jasper on Tuesday. Hey, if you're down near Jasper and Dubois County, I'll look for you on Tuesday. I'll be down there with my mom who is turning 80. Next week, next Tuesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday, Greg Rakestraw in for me. The spreadability of Win Schuler's. Win Schuler's spreadability. You can find it at your favorite Meijer location around here as well. Gordon Food Service. It is great on absolutely everything, including burgers. Back for the fall of 2025, the spreadability of Win Schuler's. James, great job out of you. Deb as well. Alicia, thank you. Sienna, Meg, all of our friends here, Courtney and the gang at Binkley's, Jim Jr. and Zink. Got the Colts, happy hour, straight ahead. Don't go anywhere. We're going to hang with you. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Have a great night.